Hi, and welcome back to the Hayden Show. And today we're doing the a Christmas special for the show Librarian.
Page
Tom,
500.
Tom. Shh.
Not even a book. It's a notebook.
Quiet. People trying to read. Yeah. I gotta be honest. I have no idea what the fuck I just watched. I don't know what the show is about.
This is only episode 4. This is episode 4 of the show, of the first series.
Really?
This is the very beginning of the series.
I thought
They started the show basically near enough close to Christmas. So basically, it was number 4 came out around Christmas. It's literally very. I think the show only had about, I don't know, 12 episodes, something like that. It's been a long time since I watched the first series. But I mean, this is like very early on in the series. This is very beginning.
I thought it was like halfway through the show.
You'd think that most Christmas specials are halfway through, so then they can have the break and come back for the second half in the new year. But no, this is literally very early on within the first series.
Look, I spent the whole time I didn't know what the fuck a guardian was, what a librarian was.
Well, librarians, you kind of would learn from the films. Librarians, that would be probably a better explanation to them. But I mean, I'm pretty certain the show does explain the first episode what that is. Obviously, it explains the cult in the first episode. It explains that guardian's basically just to protect her. That's all it is. It's just someone who defends a librarian because librarians are librarians. They're smarty pants. They're not rough and tumble. Even though the guy who is the actual librarian who's not in that episode, he's only in the first episode and then comes back every now and again later on. Pretty certain this is around the same time he was doing Falling Sky. So obviously he come into it just to basically be like, oh yeah, I was in the films, here I am, and then went out of it to give an actual cast the chance to be the new librarians, and then he'd come back every now and again and be like, I'm back, show finished,
Basically, a bit like Rip Hunter.
Basically, yeah, it was sort of like ripping the later series more than the first series. I mean, the first series he was all the way through it.
I mean, the first series, him in the film.
Yeah, basically the first series. He's I think they did 2 or 3 films. So basically, the first series is of Legends is basically his 3 films or 2, whatever, and then the later series are basically this show.
Yeah. A very convoluted way to explain that, but
yeah, basically.
Well, I didn't know what was going on, but still, it was quite entertaining to watch. I mean, obviously, of all the people to have as Santa,
Bruce
they
Campbell.
get fucking the
Bruce
best
Campbell
person to exist ever. I mean, come on, he's literally the best characters in all of the Spider-Man 3 films from Sam Raimi. He appears in all of them.
Pretty certain he's appeared in near enough every single Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he even cameoed a little tiny scene in Darkman, which is that one with Liam Neeson. He's basically in near enough all of them. I think the only one he's not in, that I can think of, is Drag Me to Hell. The only one I can think of he's not in, but he's in basically near enough every Sam Raimi film, because obviously he's best friends with Sam Raimi. I'd love to be best friends with Bruce Campbell. He's just amazing.
I mean, he wouldn't.
I mean,
he was the best part of this.
He even did his own film where he played himself playing an actor, and then everyone thought he was like a legitimate badass, but in reality he wasn't. And it's like a giant samurai ghost. It's fucking crazy, but really good.
He definitely was the best part of the episode because
his multiple personalities.
I mean, yeah, it was funny. It was like turning to fucking Odin. Oh god, Odin wants blood. That one was fun.
Especially when it leads to that joke of Santa's sorry.
Yeah. It's a very interesting concept of the concept of Santa. Instead of being he's just some weird old man who goes around giving gifts, it's more of an entity that pretty much is created
joy.
Yeah, it's just it's just like the goodwill of like all humanity is what creates him, and then he goes on to like on Christmas to give hope to all the humans in that year, and then
you'd be depressed.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's a bit different to the usual look of Santa being like this guy that gives gifts, or fights with Krampus. It's a bit different.
Yeah,
but unique.
Like I was hoping like there'd be like a bit where one of his personalities was Krampus. Like that's like one of the forms is like, oh, that like that culture at the time they created Krampus, which is what caused him to exist. It was a nice little touch, but obviously they can't have every single like version of Santa that's ever existed. Yeah. And people could like connect, like, oh, that could be a version of Santa. Like with Odin, like they make him be like the original.
Yeah, like the original baseline for Santa. That would have been funny though. During the plane sequence when the fight's going on, if for some random ass reason there was like a chainsaw on the side, and he looked at him and was like, "Nah." That would have been quite funny. I just want an Evil Dead reference. That would have been hilarious. Groovy. I would have gone that yeah.
I mean, I spent most of the episode going like, "Oh, that's from that show. That's from that show." Like fucking Mazikeen from Lucifer. There was
the guy from Orphan Black, not the other way around.
Orphan Black. Orphan Black, who's like the scientist guy who's like obsessed with genetics and stuff.
I remember. Cult leader.
Quite interesting, like seeing other stuff that they've done. I mean, I will say it was very cheesy.
Oh, that's the Librarians in general.
Yeah, it's definitely it was cheesy, but I guess that's what you get. That's kind of its charm, I guess. Like it has that feel of a Power Rangers episode. You know what I mean? The acting's very like Power Rangers.
The irony that was almost one of the choices for these Christmas specials. I almost had
it. Of course, it was.
When I was looking at the kids like 20-minute live action show, that was one of the choices. But obviously, I went with one that's currently leading the rankings.
Yeah, well, definitely worth a watch. I think all of them really are worth a watch if you're in the Christmas feeling and like, even without the context, it's still quite interesting to watch. I mean, it's a little bit confusing, I will admit, not knowing what's going on, but definitely worth a look at. I think, especially if you're a big fan of Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Because like he's been everything you see.
He's just pure Bruce Campbell in this, as he always is.
Cheesy, but got his interesting like aura that he has.
Yeah, he's just great.
Definitely worth watching. So yeah, rating though. I mean, I will say because I had no context, it was a bit confusing, so that will hinder it. But I would say I will give it. I think because it has Bruce in it, it'll bump up a little bit. I'll say 72.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've reached the halfway point of a Christmas sort of at least like a minimum top 10 ranking. Obviously, we'll do the rest next year because you gotta savor the idea of I wonder what's gonna be next year. Oh, wonder what's gonna be in the top 10 next year, and what's not gonna beat the current number one. So obviously, the Librarians in there now, the rankings for the Christmas specials in general, because it's just gonna be like a massive fuck off long list eventually. Obviously, number one at the moment, programming number one for a very long time is obviously the Liv and Maddie Christmas special, with obviously the 100 out of 10. Hayden special 100. Only the select things get Ben 10, Dora. In second is the American Dad Krampus episode, which you obviously gave 98. Then in third place is now the Librarians, which takes the third position with 72. Grimm is obviously now knocked into fourth position on 60. And last but not least, What's No Scooby-Doo sits in last place in fifth, which is not technically last, but it's last in the first top. You get the gist here with 50.
It hurts me to do so, but it's of all the Scooby-Doo ones, it was the weakest one.
Yeah.
Could
be worse. Could have been Be Cool Scooby-Doo.
Oh god.
Could have been worse.
Could be worse. It could be fucking Scrappy-Doo.
Hey! Don't you diss Scrappy.
I'll fucking diss Scrappy all I want.
You want your Christmas present? Don't diss Scrappy. You can diss Alex though.
Deal.
Okay, so obviously next year we continued the list with our next 5, which would then give us an actual top 10 for now. But for now we've got a top 5. The show in general, I am renewing you for a second series here, Hayden. That is confirmed right now. You are getting a second series. We're back at some point in the new year. My aim is probably February. Give us some time to figure out what we want to actually do for the next series, and then actually get the series recorded, ready to go out to the toppest of quality. So I'm aiming for February.
Hopefully I'm not ill as well. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, but the aim at the moment is February. If anything changes, obviously, it basically New Year. I've got some ideas to run by you of what we could do. So that's interesting. So obviously, in terms of the Hayden show, we'll see you in the new year, and we hope you have a happy new year.
Yes, and if you're Alex or James, go fuck yourself.
Bye.
Bye.
If you like what you've seen, don't be afraid to throw us a little like and subscribe. That's always very appreciated over here. And well, I'll see you on the next video.